Salmon of knowledge, just a 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 salmon of knowledge, Evan Salmon of Knowledge podcast. Hey, salmon skins, how you doing? I am the resurrection and the life, says the Lord. Anyone who believes in me will never die. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right. You're all very welcome here today to this virtual mass, or as I have figured it out by Googling on my laptop computer, it is a religious podcast, an ecumenical pod. This would be an ecumenical podcast matter. That, of course, is the horrific television program, Father Ted, a very negative view of priests and priesthood. It's not silly at all, nor is it amusing, one little bit. It's much more like The Exorcist. Priests are putting their lives on the line to drive demons out of children and small animals. This is the words out of my mouth. Amen. And now I will wave my hands over some bread and sing a song. Oh Lord, this bread is going to be you. Do your magic thing and be the bread. Be the sourdough, be the baguette, or as we call it, French bread. Now, for the young people here today, instead of wine, we have Ribena. This is the shopping of the church. Thanks be to God. And now a reading from the book of Ecclesiasticals. Dear God, how are you? I'm well. Good weather here the last couple of days. Tried to get out hiking yesterday and got caught in a bit of a shower. But it didn't last very long and we didn't get very wet. Yours sincerely, Worshipper. Now, when I read this reading, I think to myself, who wrote that? Because if you were listening, and I know you were, it's signed by Worshipper. There's no name there. But that makes me think that it could be any of us. It could be you, me, or anyone. Sometimes anonymous is not anonymous. For we are all God's children, and we are all speaking and writing and tweeting anonymously. Sometimes an egg will say something online to someone who has a picture of a film they like. They may use their names. They may use an alias. They may. This is the words out of my mouth. Hey, salmon skins, it's me again. This is take 2. I don't know what happened there. Technical difficulties in my brain. Please stand by. Now, I think I'm kind of getting into a period in which my gallows humour is coming to the fore, where I'm laughing at things that I wouldn't normally laugh at, and things that would anger me, I'm also laughing at. Or I wouldn't say anger, I would say kind of frustrate me. I'm frustrated when I go on Twitter and I see all the tweets from the Captain Hindsights and the professors of Google University. Nothing is going to be solved in the comments section online. I guess in some ways it's a good thing because I'm trying to think, why do people think it's a good thing? Because it gets out their frustrations. People get their frustrations out online by bashing their keyboards. And I don't know if that's a good use of energy, be it negative energy, be it, venting. But I mean, you vent in a nuclear power plant, and I'm taking all of my knowledge from nuclear power plants from The Simpsons. You vent to prevent a catastrophic incident, and you don't want another Chernobyl. But that's not necessarily a good thing, because you're only taking negative energy and releasing it into the world. And I guess I could say, thinking about it on a cosmic scale, because every time you speak, that goes up, out into the atmosphere and into space, into the universe, the vastness of space, maybe past our own galaxy, the Milky Way, and onto the Crunchy Nebula. These are just, technical space terms that, if you're not familiar with them, read a book about space like I did. Leave a comment if you don't agree. But you're sending everything out. We're all broadcasting. I know there's like a zillion podcasts, and I think whenever they're being played by people, they're being broadcast to space. This is being broadcast to space. Even though I'm in a room, the sound will escape out the windows, like Steve McQueen in The Great Escape. You'll turn your back on the sentence you've said, and then when you look around your shoulder and you go, where's that sentence I just spoke? It's on a motorbike, and it's headed towards the barbed wire of the window, and then it jumps through. But in Steve McQueen's case, it gets caught, and then he goes back to solitary confinement and sits out the rest of World War II. The end. But what I'm saying is, I don't know what I'm saying, guys. I'm not trying to let the whole stress of it get to me, but it seems that that's all people are talking about. And just this morning, just listening to a certain radio station with a certain radio DJ who has that kind of aura about him, that kind of ring to his voice where he's, everything he talks about is deep and meaningful, even though he's talking about what kind of jam he's putting on his toast and how the stress of this particular lockdown is making his jam selection all the more complicated in the morning. I like strawberry jam. It's a sweeter jam. It's not as tart as raspberry. And the seeds are softer on the old palate there. And, I had raspberry jam this morning. And raspberry jam, it belongs in the middle of a sponge cake with something sweeter just to balance out that tartness. But we've got Siobhan from Fairview who thinks differently. But first we're going to have a little bit of Thin Lizzy. And, it's like... And now, because they're not talking about jam, because no one cares about, petty little inconsequential foibles and habits that people have during quote-unquote normal times. So now they're just talking about how the lockdown this time around is affecting them. And I heard a couple of people, two people, a man and a woman, talking about it, and I just laughed in a sort of a incredulous kind of way, I guess. Just at the kind of, like, one guy was like, yeah, I mean, the stress of it is getting to me so much this time around. I don't know whether because the first lockdown was, coming up to the summer and the weather was nice and you could get out and about and you could go. If you saw a nice little pond with a few ducks in it and it was warm enough and you were hot, you could strip off to your jocks and go and dance around in the pond as long as you were 6 feet away from the other people who were in the pond at the time. And, coming up to the end of the year and the year being over in 2020 and the new year, that one day, that 24 hours where it's no longer, December 2020, it's now January 2021, a whole new year. And you'd expect the virus to be gone by now, is what I'm saying to you. But it's not. And I don't know why that is, because my brain works with the logic that when one year becomes a different year, then everything is suddenly magically different, just like Donald Trump said it would be. And I was like, hey. Well, I wasn't like, I actually was. I didn't go, well, hey. I went, ha ha ha, incredulously. And he couldn't hear me because he was on the radio. Because the way we've celebrated New Year's, unless you're Chinese, is like, should old acquaintance be forgot, and New Year, new me, and, you know, things are gonna get better. Your phone falls off the table when you sing that song. Because we were fooled before with that song, because Labour, New Labour, Tony Blair used it to kind of fool all of England into thinking that, oh, things are going to be different now, you just wait and see. And then 9/11. I'm not saying that two things are linked. I'm getting into real sort of let's talk about conspiracy theories here in the radio. Our next caller, Annette, has got her own theory about this whole virus lockdown situation. Annette, you think it's all a big hoax and RTE are behind it and they're the virus? Yeah, I mean, I was watching. You've got a very similar voice to our last caller. Yeah, I know. He's my next door neighbour. We're big fans of the show here in this very specific area, Fairview. And where are you living in Fairview? Do you know the Chinese Fragrant River? Oh, I do actually. I've got quite a few good 3-in-1s from there. Although that was quite some time ago. Yeah, they do 5-in-1s now. A 5-in-1. Now, is that necessary? Do you need all of those things in one? I mean, 3 is the magic number as far as I'm concerned, and that's whether it's trilogies of movies, lucky sightings of magpies. Well, it's actually 3 for a girl, you know. Yeah, I know. I'm struggling. 3 Amigos, great movie. 3, and that song, 3 is the magic number. They wouldn't have written a song about the number 3 if it didn't have some element of magic to that particular number. Do you agree, caller? Well, I wanted to talk about the virus and the hoax. Yes, and you want to talk about RTE, I believe. Yeah, I am one of the 14 people who are constantly protesting the RTE building. That building was designed by an architect who had a book that was written by a Satanist. And I Googled that, and someone else agreed with me, so that's a fact. Wow, so a Satanist built RTE, and that's why everyone is against RTE, and that's why they're basically Satanists, or they're renting their house from a Satan. What's your point? What? I don't know what my point is. I'm falling down a well. I'm sorry. Well, thanks for calling in there. So, down the shop. I'm gonna get me socks and get me some chops. I'm gonna cook them up. I'm gonna come home. Gonna drink milk and talk on the phone. That's what I'm gonna do with my time. You can come along if you like. That's what's gonna happen to me. This is the pandemic, you see. Sorry, this is completely non sequiturs, 100%. But I'll eventually get back to the second caller, the actual real second caller, and what she said. But there was around the corner from where I live, there was a garage, and there is a garage. It's still there. And someone put up one of those kind of, those road signs that are like neon, or they're all, it's our LED lights. It's all big light board. There's a word for it. Look, my brain is technical difficulties. Please stand by. But on that, someone had obviously paid to put it up there, and it said RTE is the virus, which it clearly is not. And then it said RTE shield VIP criminals who abuse children. And that seems to be the number one or number two. It kind of changes. But it's up there, definitely in the top 5 of conspiracy theories. And it's this ongoing thing where, Jeffrey Epstein had a secret island, pedophile island, and, celebrities. And this is mainly, we would say, left-leaning celebrities, because this is a sort of a right-leaning conspiracy theory. And it involves Stephen Colbert, and it involves Tom Hanks, America's father, Tom Hanks. He was there holding America's hand when America Junior was born. And it's all about rounding up children and sexually abusing them on an island. And it's just such an extreme, Pizzagate is all about that as well, that they had codes. They'd ring in and they want double pepperoni, means they want, 2 kids, and it's all, or whatever it was. I don't know the exact details. And it led to someone going to this pizza restaurant in Washington or wherever it was. I'm very well versed with this entire conspiracy theory, and went with a gun and was looking for this, secret backdoor area where they had all the kids, and they'd round them up and do whatever they were doing with them. And I don't need to know the details. That's the basics. Everyone knows the basics. But just the whole ethos of and theory that celebrities want to fuck kids on an island is so extreme. But that's how your conspiracy theorists will get you. They'll go, aha, but it's so extreme that it's true. The most illogical thing you could think of. Surely celebrities wouldn't be doing that. Rounding up kids and having sex with them. But then their response is always, well, aha.
Champagne. Turn camera. 102, take 1. With overlap, action please. The champagne, French champagne, inspired, has always been celebrated for its excellence. The French, inspired champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence. It's fermented in the bottle and like the best French. The French excellence, inspired. Just do anything. Champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence. The French, just do anything. Champagne, the French champagne. French excellence, inspired. Just do anything? No, sorry, go.
Okay, guys, we're back. I'm sorry for all of that kind of madness. I'm just trying my best to, just stay positive every day and just concentrate on what I can do within the context of the people who are around me and how I'm using my time, and make sure I'm using it effectively. I'm not always using it effectively, but I try. And sometimes I can't think of things to talk about. And that's true of this podcast. And that's true of life. I'm really missing doing stand-up, because not only do you get to work out ideas and things you've been thinking about, and also, share an experience with audiences and say, hey, what do you think about this? I think it's funny. And here's why. Do you agree? You do. You're laughing. Or you're not laughing. And you get an instant response, and you get to talk to people, and things happen, and that has a knock-on effect. But when you're just moving from a house to a park at night, and I am back to the house, and you can't, and occasionally you go shopping for things, and they've become the real treats when myself and Cara are like, oh my God, we need more Cif because the bath needs cleaning because we have to do something. And we go out and get that. I've never been happier to have like a blocked sink in a bathroom before, because it means, oh, I have to go out and get sink unblocker in the supermarket. And that's going to be a journey. What'll happen on the journey? And sometimes, you know, you might talk to someone who might, you might not want to talk to. Like we were in Lidl the other day, and there was an elderly couple with their dicks hanging out. But in the pandemic sense of the word, in that their noses weren't covered by their masks. So the dicks of their face were hanging out, flopping around for everyone to see. And you don't want that. It's disgusting. And the little old lady, she's texting me now. The little old lady was walked right up to Cara and was asking her where the English tea was. Now, she wasn't like a posh old lady. It wasn't like Helen Mirren asking where the tea is and you think you're confronted by the Queen. She was asking where the English tea was, but where do you know where the English tea is? You know, she had that kind of £5 for a pound kind of accent on her. And Cara helped her out, and I was like hanging back, and I was like, oh. And I thought, I wish I worked here so I could go up to her and tell her to, put her mask over her nose, and then, give her a lecture about the human body. But I'm sure she got that from her mother when she was a young girl. Here's how breathing works, Maggie. Pay attention, because you might need this in a pandemic. So I just let it go. But see, that's the thing. You just get caught up in this whole mess we're in, because it is a bit of a mess. And I know I have my feelings about the politics and how the politicians are dealing with it. But it is something that I don't really share online, because I think it just adds to people's frustrations. And also, it doesn't solve anything. As I said before, nothing is solved in the comments section. And just people giving out about it. And it's like, why should I listen to anyone when it comes to this thing? I think everyone knows how it spreads. I think definitely travel and definitely Christmas was a thing where people were like, oh, but I didn't go visiting anyone's house at Christmas. I didn't go home for Christmas. And I know people weren't doing that. And I know there's been an issue with, groups of people meeting for hang sandwiches and tea after funerals, because funerals are limited to 6 people. But that doesn't give me the right to go online and go, listen, guys, this is it. We're all sick of it. I don't like the way people talk for everyone. Like, you have your finger on the pulse of the common man, woman or child, and also dogs and cats and other sentient beings, and you are deigning to speak for us all. Shut the fuck up. Don't do that. If you are concerned about it, send an email to your local TD. Not a big, long, ranty one. Just, a couple of bullet points. Vent your frustration. Say you're not going to vote for them in the next election if they don't do something. And stand by that. I mean, I think, we have to hold people accountable, but you're not going to hold anyone accountable on a social media website. All you're doing is just sending that out to everyone in your bubble who agrees with you anyway. Because, I mean, I've seen things on Twitter. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Tweets on fire over the shoulder of Orion. I have seen things, but people putting up pictures of a screenshot of them with you have blocked this person, after someone disagrees with them or people disagree with them. And you just if you're just on there blocking people, it's like a terrible fucking Hasbro game. How does that work as a communications device? But I think communication has broken down a little bit because of this. You know, and I'm an old man. I'm of a simpler time. Not really. It's always been this complicated, but I think definitely the double-edged sword of instant connectivity with everyone leads to a lot of hearsay and a lot of bullshit and a lot of good stuff as well, of course. But, you can't really do anything online except, if someone uses glue on their hair and then does a TikTok about it, and then people get involved and feel sorry for you, and then eventually you get some surgeon to operate on your hair for 8 hours free of charge because you've become a viral sensation, even though what you've done is really stupid and you've used Gorilla Glue to glue your hair. It goes from that to RTE is shielding VIP paedophiles who have visited Pizzagate Island, and Mr. Epstein is their best friend, and there's pictures of them with him. It goes from the mundane to the extreme in the course of 2 tweets from the same account. And it's just this, some people's Twitters, if they were a personality, they'd be like the most fucking annoying person at a party. Like, the worst thing is, and I've seen this from some people, and they go, they tweet, I'm not going to be on social media for a while. I'm going to step back just for my own, head and my own sense of self and my own privacy, even though I'm tweeting this out to everyone and not being private at all. So I'll come back in a few weeks, guys. Like, I know you're going to miss me, but in the meantime, stay strong, guys. Hashtag stay strong. Hashtag social media is not life. Hashtag time for myself. Hashtag headspace. Hashtag. And then they don't leave Twitter. Or they keep tweeting the same day or the following day. And it's like, you're not taking a break at all. You're still tweeting. Like, they're just doing that I'm taking a break from Twitter tweet to get people to like and subscribe and follow. And it's like, just fuck off. If you're going to fuck off. And I tweeted this because I was tweeting things I hated about Twitter, which, I can appreciate the irony of that. And, I'm a hypocrite. So if you're thinking that, then you're right, because everyone's a hypocrite in some way, shape or form. There's degrees of it. So I was tweeting, if you're the person saying I'm going to leave Twitter and then not leaving, you're just like that person at the party who keeps loudly saying, I'm not hanging around. Yeah, no, I'm going. I'm heading off. Yeah, I've got lots of stuff to do, lots of cool shit to do. And might actually go to this other party that's probably even better than this party, even though I haven't been there yet. But pretty sure when I get there, I'll be like, yeah, this is savage. Much better than the place I was before. So, yeah, I probably won't be around for a while, but, I'll be leaving pretty soon, I'd say. And then, 3 hours later, they're one of the last six people you're trying to kick out of the house. They've just been in the kitchen all night, just loudly talking about politics to everyone, speaking for the nation. The voice of the nation. So, that is all my thoughts there on social media. If you want to follow me on Twitter at Edwin Salmon, you can, or on Instagram. I've been putting up some funny videos, and I've been doing some songs, some a slow version of I Used to Love Her by the Saw Doctors, because everyone was raving about the slow version of N17, which I personally didn't think was great, but now, because my beloved Cara really likes it and she's played it a few times and it's gotten stuck in my head, and I've kind of gone, yeah, it's pretty good, it's grown on me. So check those out, and we'll be right back here on Hypocrite FM. tiny break in the podcast. It's a tiny little break in the podcast. And we will be back to regular programming now. And we're back, guys. Those are great ads there, weren't they? Ads to remind us that now, more than ever, we need ads. So, guys, I'm just going to talk in this DJ voice for another wee while. And then I shall continue with the podcast. So, okay, look, here's what happened on the radio show. The lady came on, and the DJ was like, "So, how are you feeling about this whole lockdown situation? You think you're struggling, and you think people are struggling a lot?" And she was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's just that, this time round, I think it's much more difficult. And, before you used to be able to walk into a restaurant or go get your coffee or whatever it was. And, I'm in my 60s and, people in their 60s, we can't get those years back." And I thought, well, nobody can get their years back. That's how time works. Like, I know what she meant. I know she meant that, I'm of a certain age and I only have so many years left. And look, that's true. That's true of my parents. That's true of me. It's true of everyone. Everyone only has so many years left, and everyone is having these years stolen from them. And I was like, eh. And then she said, and it's just like, it's like Groundhog Day. And the DJ was like, "Yeah, it's a really good way of putting it there. Yeah, Groundhog Day. I like that." And I was like, dude, haven't you seen Twitter or, anything online for the last couple of weeks? That's all anyone has been doing. Everyone's been doing that. Everyone's been comparing it to Groundhog Day. And it's not Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is a hilarious film. It's nothing like that. And also Groundhog Day, it's the same day over and over again. I know this feels like the same day, but it's not. If it was the same day over and over again, we'd be perpetually living in this day in the middle of a pandemic where everything is locked down and you can't do all these things, for I don't know how long. I mean, I think someone calculated the actual time that Bill Murray's character was in Puxatawny, and it's something like 57,000 years or something. So to be stuck in a perpetual time loop would be far worse. I mean, as grimly hilarious as it could be, and as you got to, know everything that happened and slowly become a god, that would be fun. But if everyone's stuck in a perpetual loop, then it just becomes a weird thing where everyone gets to know everyone, and like chaos can ensue. I nearly said consume, but actually that's what would happen. Chaos would ensue, and the chaos would consume us all. And days would end with, mass beheadings or mass orgies, just mass things. Riots, people, it's that thing of, if there's no consequences, if there's no tomorrow, we can do what Bill Murray did and dress up as a cowboy and eat cake and drive off a cliff with a small mammal. And maybe some people are getting there. But thanks for calling in, caller. And we're going to take a break here on the podcast, and we're going to be back very, very shortly. Guys, one more thing, and I'm sorry, I have to apologize to you because I haven't gotten Space Notes done. I keep saying I'm going to have it done, and then it's not done. I'm not going to say I'm going to have it done this time because I can't promise when it's going to be. I was hoping to have like a whole half-hour episode, but that would take quite some time to edit, and I haven't had the time because, guys, life has gotten in the way. I'm not a full-time podcaster. I'm a part-time podcaster. This is not my main wage. My main wage doesn't exist anymore. I'm getting government-sponsored money that I'll eventually have to pay taxes on. like many people are right now. And I'm seeking other works, other employment, and I'm studying online, and I'm writing a book, and I'm running a household. I'm cooking a lot of dinners, and getting ready for the impending birth of my son in June, and I'm learning how to drive too, which will be happening, and I also probably need to go to the dentist at some point. So there's lots of things, and I have a whole list of movies I need to watch and some video games I need to play. So I got to relax in between these recordings. This podcast will come out from now on whenever the hell I've done it. I know I've promised space notes, and I haven't delivered. That'll come out whenever I do it. Hopefully I'll get it recorded sooner rather than later. But look, as I record things, I'll put them out. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. You are amazing. So eventually, when those come out, you listen to them. Thanks very much for listening to this episode. If you want to be a patron, you can go on my Patreon page, which is on the Patreon website, and you can do that if you want. You don't have to. If you want to subscribe to my page or follow me on Spotify or leave me a review on Apple, that really helps, and it maybe shoves this podcast in the ears of people who might want to hear it. I'm talking about consensual ear holes. I will see you soon, because I'll probably put up a few videos on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, and take care, guys, and be safe, be well, and just keep on trucking. We got a great big convoy, but we're really sick. We gonna get the vaccine, gonna get it quick. Vaccine. Bye-bye. I have fallen for another. She can make her own way home. And even if she asked me now, and I'd let her go alone, I used to see her up the chapel when she went to Sunday Mass. And when she'd go up to receive, I'd kneel down there and watch her pass, the glory of her eyes. Oh, I used to love her, I used to love her once, a long, long time ago. I used to love her, I used to love her once, long, long time ago. It's gone, all my loving is gone. Whoa, whoa, it's gone, all my loving is gone. Do you remember her collecting for concern on Christmas Eve? She was on a 48-hour fast, just water and black tea. Well, I walked right up and made an ostentatious contribution, and I winked at her to tell her I'd seduce her in the future when she's feeling looser. Oh, I used to love her, I used to love her once, long, long time ago. I used to love her, I used to love her once, a long, long time ago. It's gone, all my loving is gone. Whoa, whoa, it's gone, all my loving is gone. the truth of it, she's no longer my obsession. Though the thoughts and dreams I had of her would take 6 months in confession. You see, I met this young one Thursday night, and she's into free expression. And her mission is to rid the world of this sinful repression. Then we had a session. Oh, I used to love her. I used to love her once, a long, long time ago. I used to love her. I used to love her once. Long, long time ago, it's gone. All my loving is gone. Whoa, whoa, it's gone. All my loving is gone. It's gone. Gone, gone, gone. All my loving is gone. Gone, gone, gone. I have fallen for another. She can make her own way home. Salmon of knowledge, just a 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 salmon of knowledge, salmon of knowledge podcast.